This is the Audio Fit Test Podcast, where we change the game for beginners to health and fitness. No fads, no gimmicks, just solid advice that will get you results. In this episode, we look at how you can get the most out of your exercise sessions. Are you lazy with your training? Here's Jim of jimshealthandmuscle.com, who once said, "I'm so drunk that you can't even open the door."
Hey, I'm Jim from jimshealthandmuscle.com and audiofittest.com, and in this episode I want to talk about one of the factors that accounts for small to zero amounts of progress when it comes to fitness results. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that they've tried everything to lose weight, or I've been going to the gym for months and I don't look any different. But recently I joined a new gym that's it's a lot more mainstream than I've been used to over the past 10 years. And it's highlighted an important factor in the reasons for slow or no progress camp. Now, I've always known that if you work hard for something, you'll be rewarded. But it did take me a bit longer to figure out that you also need to work smart, however. But I'm a slow learner, and that's self-confessed. Anyway, this philosophy is no different when it comes to fitness. Whether you're looking to lose weight, build muscle, increase muscle strength, work on cardio endurance, you need to actually work to get the results, and the amount of smart work you put in will determine the extent of the reward, if you like. So here's an example of what I mean. As I said, recently I joined another gym, as the independent gym that I'd been going to for the past 10 years is sadly closed. Now, this was a great gym that had serious trainers as members, shelves of bodybuilding and figure competition trophies displayed that the members, past and present, had earned from their efforts at that gym. And above all of the mirrors, there were rows of photos of each of the guys and girls that had competed on their show day. And I was always proud to say that my picture was on that wall too. So this was an inspirational gym to work out in, and the atmosphere was pretty infectious. And I guess it did have a reputation as being a serious gym, and probably put off a lot of beginners in particular. And it attracted the more experienced or motivated trainers. Now, I know if I were a beginner, going into a gym of any kind would be daunting enough, but this one may have been a step too far, and it probably was for many beginners. And this is the thing, as a beginner, this is probably the best type of gym to start in if you want to learn what it actually takes to get results, the results that you want. I know from experience that if you feel that you're doing all the right things but you don't see the results, it can be very demotivating. And motivation is, as I've said many times before, the single driving force that is responsible for your success. I mean, lose that motivation and you lose your way. So I get a bit off track there, as advertised in the description of the podcast. How about that for a disclaimer? Anyway, I joined a new gym, and this gym is brand new. It's open 24 hours. It's a big chain gym, a commercial gym it's very affordable. And it is marketed for like the average Joe, meaning like there are no shirtless, ripped, tan guys with bright white teeth or riding unicorns, or there are no Miss World figure models with curves in all the right places on the posters, the websites, or any of the marketing media. And likewise, there aren't any pictures of like gorillas with bloodshot eyes bending steel barbells looking angry but pumped. At least these gorillas have been working with the right intensity anyway. But, anyway, this gym, it's not set up to attract the extreme trainer, but I will say it is a fantastic gym with everything most knowledgeable, serious trainers need to get where they want to be. Now, since training at this new gym, I've noticed a certain type of trainer, exerciser, or however you want to say it. It seems that there are a lot more of this type of trainer at this new gym. And I know that there are probably people that will shoot me down for this, type of an analogy by calling me stereotypical, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to highlight a mindset that could be holding people back. So I think it's for the greater good, and I think it will help more people than not. So here goes. I go into the gym one morning, following two ladies through the door. They're chatting away, and they both head over to the treadmills. They set the treadmills running at probably the slowest level there is. This is barely even a walk. I head to the cross trainer, set it to level 5, and do a 5-minute warm-up at a moderate pace. Now, by the time I'm in the free weight area, my joints are warm, my heart rate's elevated, my blood's flowing, and I've got a light sweat on. I'm basically ready for training. Now, I look over to the two ladies I followed into the gym. They're still operating the treadmills at the lowest level. These treadmills are side by side, so they've even turned their upper bodies slightly to face each other to better communicate with each other. So I do 4 sets of barbell shoulder press, 4 sets of lateral raises with dumbbells, and 4 sets of barbell squats. At this point, if I added up all the kilograms per rep that I lifted together, I probably lifted several tons. So now, as I'm moving over to hit a few rows, the ladies on the treadmills have moved on to a different piece of cardio equipment. They're on the stationary bikes. Again, side by side, chatting away and pedaling away with no intensity. By the time I've finished my resistance training, I move back to the cross trainer, get it going, change the resistance to level 7 and start my 30-minute fat burning session. 3 minutes in and I check my heart rate. It's at about 153 beats per minute. Maybe a bit high for me, but I'm comfortable and it's close to where I want to be for fat burning anyway. So 30 minutes of this and I'm definitely getting my money's worth from this gym session, literally and metaphorically. Meanwhile, the two ladies that sharing this session with me are taking it in turns to do sets on the leg machines. If you've been to any big gym, you'll know the adductor and abductor machines, the ones where you sit down and move your legs apart, either hitting the inside or the outside of the upper leg, and it's a sit down machine. And in my opinion, these machines feel very gimmicky, or at best used for rehabilitation of the muscles. You can do this movement with exercise bands that cost a couple of pounds or a couple of dollars, and you don't need a mega expensive machine for this. So I've got a prejudice against these machines anyway. Now, I did notice that the weights that were being lifted was clearly not challenging these ladies either. They would have been far better doing some bodyweight squats, in my opinion. Now, once my cardio session was finished, I hit the shower, and on my way out, I noticed that the two ladies had also finished, as they weren't in sight. So, as I mentioned before, some people may be listening to this and will be thinking that I'm one of these guys digging at people, but I'm not at all. Yes, it's great that they have taken the time to actually go to the gym and try and get fitter and healthier, and sure, they may only want to be at the gym for social reasons or whatever, but I've been in this game for long enough to know that 90% or probably more people that join a gym are there because they want some kind of physical result. So my argument is that if you're willing to pay for a gym membership and you're willing to actually take the time out of your day to visit the gym for regular hour time slots or whatever, you may as well get the most out of the time that you can when you're in there. So in this example, what I would say, instead of, if I was training these two ladies, and let's imagine that they wanted to tone up and lose a bit of weight. I mean, the first thing that I would do is the same thing that I did. I'd go in, I'd get them to do the 5 minutes on the treadmill, but I'd set it at a brisk walk, and I'd make sure that the posture was right as well. So rather than turning to speak to each other, turning your upper body, that can have an effect on the lower back. You know, so if you've got good posture in these situations, that's going to help you out a lot more in the long run. So 5 minutes on that, get the heart rate going. Then I would go and do some resistance with them. maybe some bodyweight squats, as I mentioned before, and that would be better than any of the two exercises from the adductor and abductor machines, because basically I've said this a lot as well, squats are, in my opinion, one of the best exercises you can do for an all-over body workout. I mean, they're hard because they're using a lot of muscles, so this will also aid fat burning as well as muscle tone and strength and even muscle function. I would maybe then do a few more exercises, maybe some shoulder press, push-ups, tricep dips, maybe a few exercises with the bands and dumbbells and drop that in, and then I would finish off with a half an hour fat burning, maybe on the cross trainer rather than a treadmill, or even the rowing machine, maybe, depending on the fitness level of the two ladies. Now, I reckon we could probably squeeze all that effort in, all that training in, and still have 15 minutes to spare from compared to what they were doing before from their own training session, and we would have made it so much more effective. And in that spare 15 minutes, they could have gone to a coffee shop afterwards and had a coffee and then done the socializing there, And that's the way I look at it, and that's the way I think you can use your time wisely in the gym. And in many cases, you can get a really effective workout in half the time if you work smarter. Okay, so I just want to emphasize again that I'm not digging at anyone, and I don't want to come across as sounding like I'm shaming people, because I'm not. I genuinely want to help people make the most out of their training sessions. So here are some rules that I like to put forward if you're a beginner or you've been training for a while but not getting results. Okay, so number 1, plan your workout. So make sure you know what you're going to be doing in the gym before you get there. Now, this can save you a lot of time once you get in the gym. One thing that I've always done is to run through what I'm going to be doing in the gym when I'm on my journey to the gym. Now, I've biked to the gym for a long time now, and this gives me a lot of time to think anyway, so I always run through my training routine before I get there. I'll think about the muscle groups that I'll be training, the exercises that I'll be performing, and the weight range that I'll be lifting, that kind of thing. So it may also help to think about the form of the exercises that you're going to be doing too. So if you're particularly weak on an exercise and you know you can improve, this thinking time will benefit you. So if you've never done this before, you'll be surprised at how the thinking time and thinking about all this stuff can really focus you ready for your workout. Tip number 2, know your heart rate zones. If you're aware of where your body needs to be in relation to heart rate zones and your training results, you'll have a massive advantage. Now, I know my optimal heart rate for burning fat is around 135 to 140 beats per minute. So as long as my heart rate is here or around here, I know I'm burning fat in the most efficient way. I also know that if I get up to the 160 beats per minute range, that my heart rate is a bit high and I should slow things down if I want to optimize burning fat and maintaining muscle mass. So how do you find this out for yourself? And there are a few ways to do this, and in my opinion, they're all just a good starting point or a guide and a good way of getting an estimate only. But the best and most accurate way of doing this, to my knowledge anyway, is to take something called a VO2 max test. But this is actually out of reach for most people, so a simple calculation is a very good start, and it's better than going in blind. Now, if I'd not had a VO2 max test myself before, and I wanted a quick idea of where my optimum fat burning zone was, I'd just do the simple calculation. I'd take the figure 220 and I'd minus my age from that number, and this gives you an idea of your maximum heart rate, so where you should be training at your maximum. Now, once you have this figure, if you're looking for your optimum fat burning range, you should try working out 60% of this. But like I said, there's no definitive answer for everyone, as everyone's body is different and their metabolism and makeup is different, and this is a great starting point. And like I said, it's better doing something like this than going in blind and just having a go and just like getting on the treadmill and running or walking. So you have no real idea of where you should be for optimum fat burning. And at least if you do this, you have something to work from. Okay, tip number 3, understand your goals. Now, understanding your goals is a big one that surprisingly often gets overlooked. Now, here's an example of what I mean. Let's imagine that some dude joins a gym with building big muscles in mind. This is his main goal, and he knows that lifting big weights, using compound movements, and keeping the rep range on the low side is a good starting point. Okay, so he starts off with this idea, but once in the gym, he realizes that he's a bit stronger than he thought he was. So he increases the rep range per exercise. He did start doing 6 to 8 reps per set, but now he's decided to increase it to 10 to 12 reps per set. So can you see the mistake here? If his main goal was to build big muscles and he knew that he should be lifting heavy with a lower rep range, would it not have been better to remember the goal and increase the weight rather than the rep range? Now, this also skirts back to the idea of training smart as well as training hard. So whatever your goal is, it's always worth revisiting it every now and again, just making sure that you're training in the best way you should be in order to achieve that goal. Obviously, goals can often change as your training habits evolve, but still, it's always good to remember where you want to be and act accordingly. Okay, tip number 4, challenge yourself. See, no one ever achieved their fitness goals by being comfortable in a gym. And I hope someone one day quotes me on that, actually. That would be nice. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest barriers in the way of success for a lot of people. See, so many people don't train even close to their limits, and by doing this, they are missing out on progression with their fitness journey. I mean, of course, it's not advisable to go into the gym on every session and lift weights and run until you pass out and your eyes start bleeding. But by the same token, it's not advisable to go into the gym and train at a level that doesn't even challenge your body, because that's not how you progress. I would say though that it's a good idea to aim to work at 60% effort when you train though. And in my experience, however, many people perceive their 60% is actually 30% or even less. So how do you challenge yourself and find your limits? When it comes to resistance training, you'll probably have an idea of a working weight range in your mind for most exercises. Well, that's great for a starting point, but you should always try to increase this weight throughout your sets. See, I know Mrs. Jim's Health and Muscle doesn't listen to this, so I'll use her as an example. See, when I train her in the gym, she always goes for the dumbbells on the lighter side, and she's very reluctant to try a heavier set. And I always seem to be the one to suggest maybe going on the next weight up for the next set if her form's good, and she's completing that set easily with the weight that she's using. Now, this isn't just Mrs. Jim's Health and Muscle that does this. It's this is common, and I think it's down to the fear of failure. I actually don't care if I pick up a set of dumbbells that are too heavy and only manage a few reps. I'll just get a lighter weight and restart the set, making a note to try again next time maybe. See, if you are in a gym by yourself and you want to push yourself a bit harder, but you're scared you might drop the weight or something like that, just wait until someone who looks capable has finished one of their sets and ask if they don't mind spotting you for a set or whatever. I mean, I've trained in gyms for years and I've never once seen someone say no to this, and it's kind of the done thing. And it's the same with cardio training. Most people will perceive a set amount of time they can do on a piece of cardio equipment, I had a client once tell me that they'd not be able to do more than 10 minutes on an exercise bike with their heart rate at 120 beats per minute. So, okay, I got her on the exercise bike, I covered the clock on the bike, set it for 30 minutes, and kept the client talking for the full 30 minutes without her noticing the time. She was over the moon when she'd found a 30-minute fat burning session so much easier than she'd ever believed that she would be able to do. So this was actually life-changing for her. So always look to push yourself and make sure that your gym sessions are worth doing. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up there, but I hope this has helped. And as always, I'd love for you to buy all my fitness audiobooks, the Kindle versions and the paperbacks. And also, it means the world to me if you leave honest reviews of all of my work on Amazon and Audible Marketplace. You see, I'm a self-published, and these things are so hard to get, but are also extremely important for me to continue to grow. Anyway, thanks again for sticking around and listening. I really hope these chats help you even just a little bit. If you've got any questions, comments, or just want to say hi, I always like to hear from any people who are listening to this or any of the readers of my guides, and I'll do my best to help where I can and get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, so until next time, all the best, take it easy, Jim. Don't take it too easy.